So, Bob, it's all yours.
See if I can find a mic that works. I like to hold a mic. Yeah, Russell's right. When we got up there, it just looked like we were at some abandoned multi-million-dollar building. and you know, it was all grown up, and I said, no, this is the new landscaping, you know, and all the natural grasses and weeds and thistles and thorns that you know, folks out in the country have to get rid of all that stuff to make a living, or it takes over their whole place. But up there, they can, you know, they can handle that because they're just basically living off of our taxes and don't have to worry about those kinds of things like we do. Just to back up a little bit, I mean, when you look at the Agenda 21 information, you see what's happening with the agencies and how agendas are developed and promoted and promulgated, and that's really what we've run into and are running into more and more here in the Ozarks. And as we deal with this stuff, you know, on the sand and gravel issue, we started talking about economic impact, and you know, we never could get them to understand the impact of that would be over $500 for the whole state, stopping people from mining sand and gravel. And it's just on the NACE issue, you know, we talk about economic impacts. They have their own people study the impacts of NACE and come up with these figures, you know, like, you know, a few dollars for an ear tag, and that's all. You know, no comprehension at all. And I thought Max just did a super job of presenting that information. And that is one of the most complex issues that I've ever seen affecting farmers, is the NACE issue. And Max did a tremendous job on that presentation. And so, you know, our problem out here in the country is getting these agency people to understand how these things affect us. And really, we found they don't really care a lot about how these things affect us. We went up there to this meeting, and we went in there and sat down. Ken Metcalf with the Sierra Club's there. We have Coalition for the Environment there, and you know, fly fishing organizations are there, and we have EPA people there, and we have the DNR people there, and we have, I mean, the room's, we've got a big table just full of people, a bunch of people sitting behind us. There's probably, what, 25 people sitting there. And I began to fight my way into the conversation a little bit so I could kind of give a view from the country. And I asked the whole group, I said, I'd just like to know how many people here make any kind of a sizable piece of their income off of production agriculture, or have a business, or, you know, anything. Anybody that uses the land to produce something. Did any hands go up, Russell?
No.
Not a single hand went up except mine and Russell. We were the only two there. And they've had several meetings. And this is what you have. And they're getting, you know, we learned, you know, they talked about regulating an additional 100,000 miles of intermittent streams, creeks, and rivers in the state of Missouri. When we got up there, there's documents that I was reading. I told Russell, I said, you know, they're talking about 159,000 miles of streams in their documents. And when we got up there, they said, no, it's over 180,000 miles of new streams, ditches, intermittent streams that they're getting ready to classify.
You've had a lot of rain.
Huh?
You've had a lot of rain.
Yeah. So they're basically, you know, they're going to classify you know, just about anything that runs any kind of water in the state. I was going to do a little math and figure out how many times that would be driving back and forth across the state of Missouri to come up with 180,000 miles But I didn't get to do that math. Maybe somebody can run that math. But that's a lot of trips across the state. That's how many miles of stream. Folks, this is a lot of stuff that they're getting ready to add. And we'll have questions at the end. But when you see this group of people chomping at the bit to get these classifications in place so that they can begin to regulate every little thing that's done all across the state, it's just, to me, it's horrifying. I just want to share a little bit of a story about when I had a dairy farm, and my dairy barn was located next to the county road. And I milked there for several years, and we milked about 100 cows most of the time. And we had, for the Ozark, we had a pretty active dairy. But because I built my dairy barn beside the county road, and I owned the land on the other side of the road, but there was a state 30-foot strip running through my property, and I had, some manure would wash off my land into that road ditch. And I was never written up, I was never fined, it was never a problem, but I wanted to put in some kind of system to manage that. They had some cost share available, I think $17,500 cost share they had available to work on that, and they talked about that up at this meeting. They said, well, if producers have a problem keeping, dealing with this, there's cost share available. I said, I want you to understand what that cost share really amounts to. In my situation, they were going to help me with about $17,500. It was going to cost me a total of $100,000 to fix that problem. Now, it really wasn't a problem because I owned the land on the other side. It was just a little area in the ditch, and I couldn't keep the water from getting into that ditch. But on the other side, I had green grass, it was a long ways before it got off my property. It was, it was really no problem. I kept it as clean as I could. But they told me, Bob, that ditch is the waters of the state. And that state is going to demand that water be kept clean. And right there, the little bell went off in my head. I'm in trouble. And they also said, we consider 100 cow dairy the equivalent of a town of 2,000 people. And then more bells and red flags started going on. Like my little operation here, sitting on this little gravel road that gets about 10 cars a day, is going to give them an excuse to come out here and regulate and fine and destroy. And here I'm looking at borrowing $100,000 and coming up with 82.5 of it myself. And then I want to build a freestall barn, which is another $100,000, and some more stuff I wanted to build. And I thought, I'm crazy to do this. I had my operation pretty well paid off at the time. Why would I want to take on that kind of debt? So I made a decision right there. I'm getting out of this business. I cannot afford to invest this kind of money and deal with these kind of people, because I had all these agency people out there, and I asked them, the day I get this done, is there any kind of a guarantee that I will be in compliance for any period of time? They said, oh, no. So you see what I'm getting at. You see the horrors involved in that. Now, we had some people at this hearing up there that represented what were the sewer, the municipalities, the sewage systems, the treatment plants,
Municipal League and a couple of cities.
The Municipal League. Well, they were talking, now they were really more on our side, because all the cities now are dealing with all this classification in this Clean Water Act, and he said, cities don't know what to do. They don't know what to spend money on. Same situation. If we build a sewer plant, do a bond, build a $2 or $3 million plant, or $10 million, $20 million plant, the day we get done, we may have another regulation. So they're saying that the municipalities don't know how to deal with this. It's just completely an unknown what's going to happen. So look what that's done. You talk about the cement manufacturers and how there's no longer any cement manufacturing. Fertilizer, phosphorus. There's no more phosphorus production in the United States, hardly. I mean, nitrogen, they import so much of it. I mean, We are destroying our production in the United States. We are destroying our producers with these kinds of things. I mean, this is like a great experiment. Can a free enterprise system, can a country with the freedoms that we have, can we continue that under this kind of onslaught of regulations and taxes and intervention and bureaucracy? I don't think we can.
No.